Good morning. So today I'm working more on this project, stock market analysis. Yesterday I started. 2 days ago I was working on the model um, and a gradient boosting model. And then yesterday I was working on price data. I'll just pull that plot up. So here's same as these plots. So I had to account for the stock splits because that wasn't in the price data. I added this function which does it. Seems like it works pretty well. See, like it's not like this asset just dropped off 80% of its value in a day. There was a split. So then I want to correct the previous data for the split. So that it's in like terms of current shares. So yeah. So what next? Oh well, then the next thing is that there's some misalignment in the data, like here. Seems like it missed this day for some reason. Oh no, well okay, well this is interesting. NASDAQ shows it was flat. This shows it was not flat. So what is this day? September 20th. What is this? Oh. Is it the hour of the day? So 517, 518, 519, 520. Yeah. So I think honestly this is such a small discrepancy. I'm hoping I can ignore it. But it rose $4. I don't know. So that's kind of significant. Actually, let me wait a second to work on this because what I'm trying to do is in my Roth. Oh, I may as use the Google. May as well use the Google. This guy. But in my Roth, I've made a good play on silver, and I've been interested in Bitcoin for I guess almost a decade now. And if you watch the Bitcoin cycles, it's very regular. Let's just look up Bitcoin chart and see if we could get a logarithmic version. Bitcoin log chart. Okay. Log, good. All time log chart. So look at when the peaks and troughs happen. So I don't know about this stuff. It's kind of rising in value, but here we have the 2013 peak. Oh, why is it? So the 2013 peak. end of 2013, right? December 2013, it peaked to $916. So let's just write this down real quick. Open Excel. Okay. So highs, all-time high. So there's a few things that happens. It hits a new all-time high, and then it returns to previous all-time high. And then what happens? We get the so return to previous all-time high. So it drops down. That's the local minimum. Return to previous all-time high. Oh, 2 cycles ago. What do we call this? Return to... So it'll hit a new all-time high, drop down to the previous all-time high. I guess, yeah. I guess we'll call this drop to previous all-time high. Okay, so all-time high when? December 2013. Then it drops here. I'll call that local minima. Return to previous all-time high. Okay, so then we get this high, December 2013. Then we get this drop, and here's the bottom, 9/2015. Okay, then when, so this was around $900. So when does it return back to $900? Here, December 2016. Okay, and then it goes up and hits the new all-time high, December 2017. Okay, and then it returns, drops down to the minimum. And see, this is the COVID crash. So the minimum was even lower than the COVID crash, December 2018. What is that? 3.3. So then it went above. So this is the minimum, December 2018. Okay, and then it returned to the previous all-time high, which was this guy, 16. Wait, when was the new all-time high? Oh yeah, here. So December 17, all-time high around 17,000. And then when does it return to 17,000? Right here. When's that? November, sometime in November 2020. It wasn't November. Yeah, November 2020, we returned to the previous all-time high. And then we make the new all-time high here, 58K, went up to like 69K. Wow, that was such a brief moment in time. We didn't capture the 69K, so say that high is about 62K, November 2021. And then it drops, so here's the high, then it drops to the local minima, back to 60, so the previous all-time high 17,000, and it drops back to 17,000 in December 2022. That's the other thing, is the local minima is the previous all-time high. So local minima here, 3,500, all-time high here in 2013. Oh, all-time high 900. So then it drops, and then we peak. Oh, so I was wrong about that. It doesn't drop down to the previous all-time high, 17,000, and here it dropped to 3,500, which was, oh yeah, so it really maintained a lot of its value. So it didn't drop, it dropped, but it still didn't come close to that 900 value. Okay, so then where are we at? December 2022, we hit the local minimum, and then, well, now we're into recent stuff. So I remember last year during the election in 11/2024, 2 years ago now, we returned to the previous all-time high, and then let's make it linear. And when was this all-time high? Our recent all-time high was 122,000 in October 2025. So that's the cycle. It's very reliable. Look at these. December 13, all-time high. December 17, all-time high. November 21, all-time high. October 25. So basically every 4 years we're hitting an all-time high. And that has to do with the Bitcoin halving cycle. It halves, the reward for mining Bitcoin halves approximately every 4 years. What's the point of that? Oh, so that dictates the regular cycle. The reward for mining Bitcoin goes down. When that happens, it becomes unprofitable to mine. And so the natural kind of market dynamics are that Bitcoin becomes more and more expensive until it is profitable for people to mine. And then there's excitement. We get to a new all-time high. So all-time highs are basically every 4 years. Although the recent, that's interesting because this is exactly 4 years. 1 month under 4 years, also 1 month under 4 years. Now the local minima, September 2015, December 2018. Oh, so that's out of the pattern. But this is kind of 2013 was unique. So let's look log. So what are we saying? Local minima, 197 at the beginning of 2015. Oh yeah, so the local minima is right there. Like January 2015. So now that's that pattern makes sense. So January 15, December 18, December 22. So this is 1 year and 1 month. 4 years and 1 month, 4 years, 4 years, 3 years and 11 months, 3 years and 11 months. This is 4 years and 11 months, 4 years. So the local minima is pretty reliable. So if this happens again, if the cycle, maybe there's something that's broken the cycle, maybe because there's so much institutional adoption or something. But, and then the return to previous all-time high, December 16, November 20, November 24. So, if this continues, we can assume that'll happen around November 2028. And then the local minima will happen around December 2026. So end of this year. That's what I'm assuming. That's my target here. Is December 2026, end of year. We're going to reach the local minima. And so then the question is, what dictates the local minima? I thought it was the previous all-time high, but you see here it drops to 197. What's the all-time high here? Yeah, so it's not going to come close to this all-time high. So this cycle number. So the first cycle, and then the minima. So first cycle starting 2013. I guess we could call this the first cycle. I'm not going to call that the first cycle actually, because that's not how I think of it. I think of 2013 as a first cycle. So if we go with that, say 2013, that one's a first cycle. Then what's the previous all-time high here? Let's look up 2011 Bitcoin peak. Okay, so $32. Cycle number one. Previous all-time high, $32. No. And then minima. Okay, so then the minimum was around 200. Okay, so that equals that divided by that ratio. Now, this is just make all of these numbers. Okay, so cycle 2. Oops. This should be peak year. Cycle 1 peak year was 2013. Cycle 2 peak year was 2017. The previous all-time high, 2013, was what, $900? And the minima, 17. Minima here was like 3,500. See what that ratio was. 3.8. Cycle 3, the 2021 peak. The previous all-time high was 17,000. And the minima was after 2021. I'm pretty sure it was like 17K. Yeah, so it dropped to 16,500. Slightly under 1. Now cycle 4. Peak year is 2025, end of last year. Previous all-time high was 69,000. Okay, we'll call it 65,000 because 69,000 was like a flash in the pan. And then the minima is a question mark. So if we plot these guys, you know, we have 3 data points. So the question is this going to be linear? Oh no, it's not going to be linear. It should be logarithmic. But that looks pretty linear. So if we're conservative, what would this fall to? 0.5? We're going to say this, so we're going to predict the minima equals, so that, this guy, this column divided by this column is that column. So this column times, yeah, equals that times that. That's not right. Oh, I guess I was thinking the opposite effect. So the ratio is getting lower. With respect to the all-time high. So I guess a conservative 32,000 seems low. If we're conservative, it'd be 65,000. I don't know. 32. So this makes it hard to predict the next price. There is not a linear trend, I guess. It has to be logarithmic, but this looks linear. And actually, it's accelerating. So how do we pick a... let me say good morning. I stream this research every day. Subscribe if you'd like to follow along, exclamation. X data is cycle num. No. X data cycle num is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have y data. Nope. Is ratio is 6.25, 3.89, 0.97. Okay, maybe we want one more data point. Back to logs. So let's say 2011 was cycle 0. Oh, yeah, see, that's out of the cycle. 2011 peak, that was a 2-year cycle, so I can't really get anything from that. See what this guy says. Hmm. 7.73 times x to the minus 2.05. Minus 2.05. Yeah, let's just do this in Python. what is it? 7.73 times cycles times I times I to the minus 2.05 for I in cycles label equals fit C equals magenta. Local minima to previous all-time high ratios. Okay, then we're going to make the X label cycle number, and then we're going to make the Y label ratio. That's pretty off. The problem is that the ratios are linear, so this would have predicted a much higher, that would have predicted a much lower all-time high. This would have predicted a much higher all-time high. That's close to being on. So I guess we could assume worst case scenario would be like 1. So let's say that it's gonna be 1 again, which just means that it's a return to the previous all-time high. So then we expect it to drop to 69,000. In which case, let's go look at iShares. So iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF. How much Bitcoin do they hold? iShares Bitcoin ETF. How many Bitcoin do they have? Okay, so 780,000. Let's be conservative and say they have 850K Bitcoin. And then the Bitcoin price is going to drop down to, conservatively, this is a conservative estimate, 69,000. And so their market cap should be that. Okay. iShares Bitcoin ETF, shares outstanding. $1.38 billion. Okay. 1,380,000,000,000 equals market cap divided by shares, $42. So I'm gonna buy a put for so today's date is the 20th, 1/20/2026. Gonna get a put. I could just say options trades. Okay, put strike, type put, strike, cost, current value. So we're gonna get a $43 strike. Well, I don't, it's probably only available in $5 increments. So let's say $45. Expiration is far off in the future. 6/2027. And let me look at what I can get this for. So, options. Let's say June 17th, 2027. $45 put is $775. January 15th, 2027. Okay, so if we do, maybe I'll do the 15th, because if you look at the peaks of the cycles, the local minima, this is 1 year, 3 years, 11 months, 4 years, 4 years. So even if this totally breaks and goes, well, 4 years, 1 month wouldn't be a total break. So I think I really need June. Let's see, how close does it get? Can we do January? So here, November 22, it really fell to 16,000. And it stayed there, but when does it start going back up? January. Here, dropped down there, but it kind of floated at low value. Until May. And so the concern is if we buy this for January, that's too soon and it won't be dropped by that point, but so my Touch ID isn't working. Damn it. Okay, so for beginning of 2027, a $43 put is $510. If we go June 17th, a $45 put is $775. January 15th. So if we get a $40 put for June 17th, January 15th. Okay, so $585, $45 put. Okay, I need to sell some stuff. I'm gonna sell some gold. And silver, I've made $193. I'm gonna get out of the silver trade. And okay, so let's be conservative. Back to the Bitcoin ETF. Options. Let's go for June 17th, 2027. And let's get a $45 put for $775. 1. Okay, so one contract for $761. Okay. So I'm going to track this and see how it does. Okay, and we need to define. Okay, so let's bring this up, make a new document, and say Bitcoin trade information. And we have a $45 put on iShares Bitcoin ETF. IBIT Holdings. So 784,000. Conservatively assume 100K. Corresponds to this much money. That's the market cap. What is this number? Oh, shares outstanding. 784,000. Okay, so Bitcoin price target 69,000. We're assuming a return to 2021 all-time high, which is conservative based on this trend. So if we get you know, if then it goes up, then the trend breaks. If this goes lower, then we're in a better position. So I assumed conservatively 1. And let's put these guys in. $1.38 billion. Pretty sure I did June 2027 should be the expiry. June 17th, 2027. At minimum, be between, conservatively, we could say it's between October 2026 to January 2027. So sometime in there I want to sell at the minimum. Okay, so that's it for this trade. Gonna have to save this. I'll just save it there. All right, so now let's get back to, that kind of took a while, but let's get back to the Python. Okay, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. 9.
How do you feel after your 4 beers yesterday?
Good. The Michelob Ultras are easy on you.
What time did you wake up?
5:30.
Oh, not bad.
Not bad
Hey,
at all.
today's laundry day.
Okay.
So bring me your laundry. I'd really like to get in here and help you organize and
Yeah.
stuff before we leave. So like in a couple weeks.
Okay. Okay, so what time is it? 7:47. We've got a little bit of time. Okay, I'm actually gonna get some coffee real quick. Oh, I know. Okay. Need my headphone. Oh no, I left my headphones in my brother's car, I think. Unless they're in my pants from yesterday. Dang it. They did. I can't believe that. What am I gonna do without headphones today? Okay. So where are we at? We've got some data that works, and now we want to find some parameters that work. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint from yesterday. I put on there suggestions. So recommendations, start with just returns, 1, 5, 20-day returns, and volatility. Standard deviation of the return. Volume. Let's add. Okay, so data, stock data. So we want to add 2 stock data. So get stock data. Call that a function. Self returns so volatility over the last 20 days. So how do we do that? We can just ask the AI. Since you're working with log returns, math is very simple. Yeah, I know it's additive. Great. So now we could say for length in 520 self dot stock data of if self dot has stock data is equal to false, return raise exception no stock data exists. Self.stock data of, make it a function string, length underscore day log ret is equal to self.stock data of open, high, low, close volume of that is equal to self.stock data of open, high, low, close volume of log return dot rolling window equals length dot sum. Okay, now how do I calculate the 20-day volatility? volatility. Standard deviation. Okay, now if we go into here, let's put the debugger right here. Okay, let's look at df.keys. So let's add five-day log return, 20-day log return, and then 20-day volatility. Okay, so this is what we get using only this stuff. So we're at 47% directional accuracy. If we're using this to make purchases every day, we'd probably lose money. So let's go again. Continue, take this out. Just wanted to look at the data. 64%. So now that's way better. And you could just see that it's way better. Nice. So this would be useful. So we need to test the model. The data is from doltreader.py. Add a plot to the model script, which shows the performance of the model during the during the test data. The rule should be buy if positive returns predicted, and sell if negative returns predicted. If a buy has already occurred, and positive returns are predicted, hold the stock rather than buy. Similarly, if negative returns are predicted and no, if negative returns are predicted and no stock is currently held, do nothing. Make all plots be on the same figure. Okay, so I'll put this at the bottom. And let's see what that gives us. Okay, so here's the same thing, predicted returns. Feature importance, 5-day log returns is most important. And here's the performance. So it's not that great. Well, okay. Now what if I try? This is doing too many buys and sells. This strategy seems to work okay, but there are too many buys and sells. Try only buying change the rule so that you can make up to 5 buys, sell, so that you can buy up to 5 shares. Each buy signal, you should only buy 1 share. Each sell signal, you should sell a single share. If there are 5 shares held, hold, and don't buy additional. Each sell signal, you should sell a single share unless there are none, in which case you should do nothing. So it's kind of hard to think of what to do. I think my initial idea is do a model on the price data, do a model on the fundamental data, and then use the strategy to simulate between the two. Oh, and then another model to pick how much to allocate. Okay, so does that perform any better? So this is worse. Because this did worse. Worse than the baseline. So, where's the loop? Okay, so that didn't change anything. So we want to change the buy and sell thresholds. .001 is kind of less, so maybe 0.05. Okay, so how's that do? Still worse. Does better when it drops, but we're not buying in quickly enough. So maybe we need a lower buy threshold. What was that? Balloons? Why'd balloons come up? Yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be it for now. Next stream I'm gonna play around with more variables. Or let's try a different stock, because Ford doesn't do very well. Maybe we could do Tesla. But Tesla's gone up. Maybe Pfizer. What would it tell us to do on Pfizer? So 60% at predicting the right direction. Still not very good. So I guess this is good when things are doing poorly, but not when things are doing well. What if we increase the max units? Yeah, so the next thing would be selling or buying in proportion to the, well, maybe I'll increase the number of, let's just increase the number of units to 100. Oh. So does it tell us the number? So we're just increasing the position. But that would naturally happen because our buy threshold is lower. So than the sell threshold. So let's increase the buy threshold so that they're symmetric. And that does very well. So, I mean, it's hard to tell because Pfizer basically lost money over this time. We missed out on these ups, but we also missed out on the downs. And we increased the position to 24 units. So it beat the asset. But that's no good, is it? Yeah, so we're basically, this isn't any good. I'm gonna have to explore more in depth, but for now, this is it. I've got to go to work, so thanks for watching. Subscribe if you thought this was interesting. I do this every day. And I guess that's it. Subscribe.